Hello, everybody. Welcome to class this evening. My name is Mimi. For anyone that is new to class here, and I just want to say welcome. So we're going to go ahead and have a pretty mellow class tonight. And if you're a beginner, this class should work for just about anybody of all levels. One thing as you're getting ready for class that you might want to keep in mind that might be helpful is to have some sort of props. So these are yoga blocks, and they can be useful to have your hands on at any time that you can't quite reach the floor. But if you don't have fancy yoga blocks like these, you could grab a couple of big books or cans or anything else that is gonna help do that trick, okay? So give people a moment to do that and come back to their mats. And in the meantime, we're gonna go ahead and come onto our backs for the start of class. So as you come onto your back, go ahead and bend your knees. And you can relax your hands onto your belly or any other place that it works for you. And we'll just take some time to settle in. And just feel your body settling down onto the mat. And having knees bent is generally kinder to the lower back, but after you've taken a few breaths here, if you'd like, you could go ahead and slide your legs long on the floor and give that a try. And if you do that and you notice that it bothers your lower back, just go ahead and rebend your legs. And try to take that attitude throughout the whole length of our practice. So I'm going to guide you into various shapes and poses. And if they don't quite work for your body, go ahead and play with adjusting them until you find some version of the shape that works for you. So don't feel like you have to do exactly as I say, especially since in this format, I can't see anyone who's here for class. So if we were in a studio all together, I could watch everybody and give some personalized advice. And so in this format, you really need to pay attention to your body and listen to its wisdom and take your cues from there. So we'll just take a handful more breaths here before we weave in some movement for the evening. And you can think of these first few moments on your back as an opportunity to set the foundation for your practice. So this practice coming at the end of your day. And on this day, December 23rd, maybe this practice is coming right at the end of a stretch of work and tomorrow begins your vacation. Whatever your story is, see if you can create some separation between whatever the events of your day and whatever's going on generally in your life, creating some separation between that and this hour that we'll spend together. So that you can bring the fullness of your attention and focus into your practice and not have other things tugging at you. So that you can really take this time to do a deep dive into what it is that you need. And so we're going to begin to move. So with your next inhale, you can stretch your legs long if they're not already there, and stretch your arms behind you. And just begin to stretch and yawn. You can open your mouth and let out a sigh or two. You can shift and wiggle. This is really just about feeling good. No right, no wrong. Just moving in a way that helps to bring you into your body in this moment. And then we're going to bend our knees and gather them up at the chest. And as you do that, you can hold on to the shins or behind the knees and just begin rocking back and forth. Some of you might find that you want to switch your hands to the front of your knees and just kind of roll around, massaging the back of your pelvis. And take a few circles in one direction, and then a few circles in the other direction. Good. And then eventually allow your feet to drop to the floor and bring your arms out wide. And you're going to take your feet out to the edges of your mat. We're just going to begin to swing your legs side to side. So dropping your knees down towards the right, take a peek over your left shoulder. And then inhaling back to the center, you're going to drop your knees over to the left and look out over your right shoulder. And then just keep going back and forth like that. So side to side, slow and steady. Just letting the knees and the head roll in opposite directions. And all the while connecting your movement with your breath. Good. And then the next time the knees come upright, pause for a moment. And then let your knees travel down to the right. You can stay like this, or you might want to take your right ankle over your left thigh. And just hook your ankle there. Allow the weight of your thighs to drop downward. See if you can maintain contact with the floor behind that left shoulder. And then go ahead and infuse the shape with your breath. And allow your breath to help anchor you in the pose. We'll take a few more moments here. And then inhale your legs back up. And you're going to set your right foot down. And then let your legs just fall down and over to the left. And you can stay like that, or you might hook your ankle over your thigh. And then just allow the weight of your legs to drop down. And take a few breaths here. Again, seeing if you can maintain some weight, maintain some contact in the back of that right shoulder blade pressing to the floor. We'll stay for a moment more. And then inhale your legs back up. You're going to set your left foot down wide. And then you're simply going to turn your toes in towards each other and allow your thighs and your knees to press against each other. And then just bring your hands back to your belly. And take a few breaths here. You're noticing how hips and thighs feel from the work that we did before this. We're just taking pauses throughout our practice to stop and notice and feel. We're going to roll off to the side and come on up to a tabletop. So as you come to your tabletop, you should feel free to pad your knees if they're a little tender, and then just take a couple of moments to settle in, bringing the weight to your limbs, pressing down into the hands. And we'll come into some cat-cows. So you'll exhale, press the floor away from you, and begin to round and tuck the tailbone under. And then inhale and drop the belly forward and pull your hands back towards you to open up the heart and the chest. And then exhale and round, reaching the back of the heart towards the ceiling. And then exhale and inhale and open up the heart. And then just move back and forth like that on your own. So inhaling and exhaling, opening front body and back body. Maybe you even close your eyes so that you can really feel your way into the movement. Couple more. Good. And then we're going to tuck our toes under and lift our hips up and back and come into our first downward facing dog. And as you come into your downward facing dog, feel free to step your feet a little bit wider. You can have your knees bent a little or a lot. And then just move and shift in the pose. So rather than holding it static, see if you can pedal your feet and wobble your hips, wag your tail. Just think of this as a big yawn for the whole body. A few more moments. And then we'll begin to walk our hands backwards. So walking your hands back towards your feet, and then soften your knees and let your upper body just drape down over your thighs. And take a few moments here. Allow the head to be heavy. And again, maybe there's a little bit of movement. So rather than holding your forward fold in stillness, maybe there's a little sway, a nodding of the head, yes or no. And then you'll press into your feet and begin to sweep the arms up and overhead, looking towards the ceiling, join palms together. And then draw them in towards your heart. You can step your feet in, spread through the soles of your feet. Take one breath in and exhale and let it go. And we'll do a few half sun salutations here, just feeling the body flow a little bit more. So inhale, sweep your arms up. And then exhale and dive your way forward. Bow. Inhale, press your hands to your shins and extend to straight legs and a flat back. And then exhale and bow in. Inhale, press into your feet, sweep your arms high and wide and rise. And then exhale, hands to heart center. And again, inhale, let the arms sweep. And exhale, dive forward, draping upper body over the thighs. Inhale, press to straight legs and a flat back. And exhale, fold forward. Inhale, sweep your arms high and wide. And exhale to heart center. And one last time, inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale and dive. Inhale to straight legs and a flat back. And then you're going to soften your knees and just walk yourself forward to a high plank. Try to stack your shoulders over your wrists, level out your hips, and if you need to, just sink your knees to the floor. Keep holding your chest up over your wrists, over your shoulders, so that you are continuing to do some strengthening in the upper body, even if the knees are on the floor. Take one more moment here. And then with control, best you can, elbows track against the rib cage, and you lower to the floor. Point your toes behind you, stretch through all 10 toes. Hands are lined up directly outside the shoulders. We're going to come on up into a cobra. So squeeze the elbows in, loop the shoulders back, and lift the heart to hold. Check to see if you're holding tension in the neck, the jaw. And then lower all the way to the floor on your exhale. And we're going to push through a tabletop and come directly into a child's pose. So you'll bring your big toes together, knees are going to open wide, and then just bow down to the floor. And then coming into your child's pose, if you find that it's hard to get your head to the floor, you can always fold your hands underneath your head. Or you might choose to bring a block or a pillow underneath your head for support. So again, paying attention to your body, making adjustments as needed. And making the pose fit the shape of your body rather than trying to make your body fit the shape of the pose. And then come on up to your tabletop again. And we're going to go ahead and send the left leg back behind you. Try to level off your hips. And then if you'd like, reach your right arm forward. Hold here. Just a moment. Good. And then lower your right hand to the floor. You're going to keep your left leg long and just bring the ball of your foot to the floor. And once you've hooked your toes, see if you can push through your heel. And you might do that as one steady, long push, or you can pulse in and out of it. And then hold still. And then take your right hand to your heart. And then with that hand, you're going to begin to rotate your chest open to the right. You can keep your hands on your heart, or you might bring that arm to the ceiling. Take just one more breath here. And then lower that hand down. Good. Press through your left heel. See if you can sneak that right foot back without any other movement. And we're back to our plank. Hold for breath. And then downward facing dog. Send the hips up and back. Good. Take a little time here. Again, a wobble and sway of the hips and the knees. Good. And then tap the knees to the floor once again. Big toes come together. Hips are going to sink back. And we're back to our child's pose. A few big breaths into the space behind the heart. And then this time, staying low in your child's pose, begin to walk both hands over to the right. So you begin to find some curvature in the upper body and open up that left-hand side of your ribcage. And take a couple more breaths here. Really sinking back into that left hip at the same time that maybe you press into your fingertips and reach that left arm forward some more. And then come on through the center and over to the other side. So both arms walk over to the left. And then once you've found this curvature in your spine, see if you can draw back through the right hip and reach the right fingertips, the right arm forward just a little bit more. And then walk yourself back to the center. And we'll find our way into tabletop again. And then once you've settled into your tabletop, this time it's the right leg that is stretching back behind you. And you're going to reach the left arm forward. Hold here. One more breath. Good. Lower your hand down. Bring the ball of your foot to the floor. Push through your heel. And again, you can hold it in one long, steady stretch of the heel. Or maybe there's some pulsing back and forth. Good. And then press into your right hand. Left hand is going to come to your heart. And then with your hand on your chest, you're manually going to begin to rotate in the upper chest. You can stay right there, or maybe bring that left arm to the ceiling. Lower the hand down. Keep pressing through your right heel. Shoulders stay stacked over the wrist. And we're going to do that little sneaky move back to a plank. So just step that foot back. Adjust yourself. Take a breath. And then send the hips up and back for downward facing dog. Good. This time, walking your feet up towards your hands, we're going to come into another forward fold. So draping the upper body over the thighs. A couple of breaths. And then press into your feet and begin to roll your way up to standing. And then once you arrive, let's just take a couple shoulder rolls. So we'll roll the shoulders backwards a few times, just squeezing shoulder blades towards one another, giving yourself a massage in the upper back and the neck. And then go ahead and roll the shoulders forward. Good. And then releasing the arms down. I'm going to take your one hand to the heart, so the center of the chest, and one hand to the belly. So in yoga, lots of times we talk about the heart center. So not so much the anatomical heart that sits off to the left, but the spiritual heart that resides at the center of the chest like an eternal flame. Another couple of moments here, just spreading through the soles of the feet, finding strength and stability in the legs. And then relax the arms down. If you're not already at the very front of your mat, you're going to come there and take those blocks or take those books or whatever it is that you've grabbed And bring them on each side of your ankles for support. And then bringing hands together at your heart, we're going to begin to flow. So inhale, sweep the arms up. And then exhale and bow forward. Inhale, hands to your shins and stretch the crown of your head forward. And then soften in the knees enough to bring your hands to your blocks. And we're going to step the left foot back to a nice deep lunge. Settle the hips, lift the heart. And we're going to pulse in and out of the lunge here. So you're going to exhale and straighten that front leg as you bow in. And then inhale, bend the knee, you lift the heart. And then move back and forth like that on your own for the next few moments. Really letting your breath be your guide rather than my voice or my rhythm. And then the next time you straighten that front leg, go ahead and stay in that position. So straight front leg, heart reaching towards your big toe. And take a couple of moments here. One more breath. And then you're going to bend that front knee deeply again. Compress your left hand to the floor or maybe a block. And once again, you're going to bring that right hand to the heart center. And with your hands, manually begin to open up to the right. And then maybe you top it off by bringing your right hand to the ceiling. Gaze can follow. One more breath. Good. Lower that hand down. And we're simply going to step the left foot up to meet the right. You can move the blocks a little bit wider, shuffle the feet open, and just take a couple moments to hang down. And then without a sweep of the arms, just stacking one vertebra on top of the other, just rounds your way up to standing. Take a big breath in through the nose, hold it for a moment, and then exhale and sigh it out. And we'll do the other side. So stepping the feet in close, hands at the heart. Inhale, let the arms sweep. And then exhale, big dive forward. Inhale, press to extend. And then hands come to your blocks and the right foot's going to step back. We're coming into a deep lunge. Hands are rooted underneath your shoulders. Pull the shoulders back with the heart. And then we're going to begin to pulse. So you'll exhale and straighten your front leg. And inhale, sink into it and lift the heart. And from here, you're on your own, pulsing in and out. A few more times. And then straighten your leg and hold. Press into the back heel, keep reaching the heart forward. Take another breath or two here. And then you're going to bend deeply into the left knee again. Right hand plants on the floor or a block. Bring your hands to the center of your heart. And your left hand is going to manually rotate. So guiding you into this twist. Hands can stay there or reach towards the ceiling. Take another breath. Good. Lower your hands down. Come back into your lunge. Press into your left foot and just step that right foot up. Blocks go wide. Open your feet and just take another moment to hang down over your legs. And then once again, pressing into your feet rather than sweeping your arms. Roll yourself up, stacking one vertebra on top of the other, coming to rise. And then just turn your palms forward. Roll your shoulders back and just direct the thumbs and the shoulder blades towards the back body. Lift the chin, lift the heart, round through the feet. Good, and then relax the arms. And with a big inhale, sweep them up overhead. And then just begin to reach. So reaching through the right side and the left side. Just kind of stretching, opening up some space in the side body. Good, and then reach up evenly between both hands. You're going to take hold of your left wrist with your right hands, give a little tug, and then reach up and over to the right. And keep rolling that left shoulder back. And then inhale and come on up. And we'll switch. So go ahead and take hold of your right wrist with your left hand. Give a little tug towards the ceiling. And then we'll reach up and over. And then inhale and come on up. And then release your arms all the way down by your side. And once again, we'll do a few shoulder circles backwards. And a few shoulder circles forward. Good. And we're going to come to face the side of our mats. So go ahead and spin towards one of the longer sides of your mat and open your feet nice and wide. So as a rule of thumb, when you come into these wide leg stances, you want to open up your feet about as wide as one of your legs. So you form this an equilateral triangle between your legs. And then bring your hands to your hips. And you're going to spin your right foot to face the short edge of your mat. And turn your left toes a little bit in that direction. Keep your left hand planted on your hip and reach your right arm up and then lean back into the support of your left hands, long through the side body. You might choose to gaze back at your left heel for a little stretch of the neck. Good. And then as you come up, you can keep that left hand grounded on your hip and then feed your hips into that hand as you reach forward. Reach forward. And then let your hands land anywhere on your shin or even more upright on your thigh if you need it. And then roll the chest open. You can keep your hand on your hip or reach your arm to the ceiling. Coming into triangle pose. One more moment here. And then inhale and come on up. Bring hands to your hips and bend deeply into that right thigh. You might even shimmy your legs a little bit wider. We're going to sink our right forearm down to our thigh. You can keep your left hand on your hip and begin to roll that shoulder open. Good. Keep rolling that shoulder back, but then turn your head to look at your right toes. Take one more moment here. And then inhale, come on up. You're going to spin to the side of your mat and then just step your feet together. Good. Plant through the feet and relax your arms by your side. And we're going to rise up and down from our onto the balls of our feet, coming into a little bit of balance. So inhale, sweep the arms and rise up. And then exhale and lower down. Inhale, sweep the arms up and rise. And exhale and lower down. And do it a few more times on your own. If you're having a little trouble holding the balance, maybe find a spot in front of you, let your eyes hook onto it, latch onto it like an anchor. And then the next time you rise up, go ahead and hold. So coming up to the balls of your feet, level off the chin, lift through the arches. Take another moment. And then lower the heels and pause. Good. We're going to open up the feet wide again. Hands to the hips, this time taking the left foot, rotating it towards the short end of your mat, and rotating the right hip just a little bit in. You're going to keep that right hand rooted on your hip, and then with an inhale, reach up and back, leaning into the support of that palm. And again, you might turn your gaze to look towards the right heel. And then come on up. You're going to reach forward, stretching into the side body. And then that hands can come to the inside of your shin, or maybe more upright to the inside of your thigh. Keep rolling your chest back like you're leaning against a wall, and then stack the right arm on top. Hold for a moment. And then inhale and come on up. Bring hands to the hips and sink into that left foot. You might need to slide the legs a little bit further apart so you can sink in and get nice and deep. And then bring your forearm to your thigh. Keep that hands on your hip. You're going to roll your shoulder back and then look down towards your left toes. Take another moment. And then press into your foot. Come on up. Step your feet together. And you can face the side of your mat. Maybe you come back to the front of your mat. And come into balance again, similar to before. And then interlace your fingers right at your heart. And then turn your palms forward and reach them up overhead. Good. And then simply lift up onto the balls of your feet. Just rise. Holding here. Couple moments. And then lower your heels and float your arms down and circle them in to the heart. If you're not at the front of your mat, go ahead and step up now. And we'll sweep our arms up on an inhale. And exhale and bow our way forward. Inhale, press into your shins, lift your heart. And then lower your hands to the floor and step on back to a downward facing dog. Spread your palms wide. And then tap your knees to the floor. You're going to open your knees wide, bring big toes together, and sit your hips back towards your heels. And come into a child's pose. Take a few big breaths into the back body. Slow and steady. Again, folding hands underneath the head or bringing a block there if you need to. And then if it works for you, begin to lift the chest upright. Keep your knees wide and the hips back and come to sit upright on your heels. If this doesn't work for you, instead, you're going to come to a tabletop. So I'm going to show you how to get into the next pose from either shape. So from your tabletop, you'll just begin to slide that left arm through, keeping the hips high, and angle the head down towards the floor. You can always fold your hand underneath or put a block underneath. If your hips are back towards your heels, you're going to slide the right arm forward and then slide that left arm through. Good. You can also fold the hands in and bring it under your head. In either version, you want to keep relaxing that right forearm to the floor and allowing the weight of the upper body to drop down on the outer rim of that shoulder. We'll stay for about 2 more breaths in this shape. And again, either taking the shape, it's called threading the needle, from a tabletop or from the squat back on your heels. And then begin to press into your right hand and pull that left arm out. And we're going to come into the other side. So either from your tabletop or from this shape, sinking back, you're going to begin to thread the right arm through as far as you can, and then bring your right cheek towards the floor. And always bring a block underneath the head, or fold your hands underneath your head. Maybe rest the left forearm to the floor. And take another couple breaths here. And then come on up to a tabletop. You'll unthread your arm. And we're going to come into a downward facing dog just to stretch open the backs of the knees. So tucking the toes under, lift the hips back and up, and just pedal the feet, open up the backs of the knees, especially if you were squatting back onto your heels. It might feel really good to do this. And then lower your knees to the floor. Just swing your legs around to the front of your mat. And come to sit with your hands behind you, your feet nice and wide, and your knees bent. Okay. And we're just going to begin to swing side to side, similar to how we did it in the beginning of class. So you're going to drop your knees to the right and look over your left shoulder. And then come on up. And then drop your knees to the left and look over your right shoulder. And then just go back and forth as quickly or slowly as you'd like. Make sure that the feet stay wide apart. So if they've slipped together, open them up again. If your behind is traveling up towards your heels, you might want to sink it back, scooch it back. Good. And then come on up through the center. Maybe adjust yourself. Make sure feet are wide. Make sure your butt isn't right up against your heels. Walk your hands in. And then drop your knees down to the right. And once you drop them down, you might take a little time to stagger them more. So you can move that left thigh back Adjust the right foot so it's not under that thigh. And you're going to begin to rotate towards that right thigh. So begin to place your hands to the outside of that thigh, and then just using your hands, slowly begin to revolve the upper body. Coming into a twist like this, wringing out of the belly. And you're welcome to stay upright like this, tractioning into the deeper twist with your palms. You might bring your forearms onto one of your blocks or other props to give you a little lift, or you might be able to sink them down to the floor. Wherever you land, see if you can release any tension in the neck, maybe the chin bows. Make sure you're still breathing. So sometimes in twists, there's so much pressure on our belly that we just hold our breath rather than try to soften and allow the breath in. A few more moments. And then begin to press up onto your palms. You're going to swing your legs around, come to the center, make sure your feet are wide, and then swivel them over to the left. And as you do that, again, you might track that right thigh back, adjust the left foot, and then take both hands to the outside of your left thigh and begin to walk. I'm going to semicircle towards that left hip. You could stay upright, tractioning with your hands, or drop down onto the support of a block or forearms to the floor. And take a few breaths. If you're feeling too much pressure on your belly, maybe you come up higher. Another couple moments here. And then come up onto your palms and swing your legs back around. Have your feet at the edges of your mat. Knees are bent, hands are behind you. And just like we were doing a moment ago, you're going to let your legs drop one way and look over the opposite shoulder and go back and forth. And then come to the center, and you're going to drop down onto your forearms. Feet stay wide, planted at the side of your mat, and do the same thing. Be noticing how coming lower to the floor changes the sensation, changes the quality of it, changes the location of it. And then ease your way all the way down. Reach your arms out wide and come back to how we began class. So swing your legs side to side, head turns in the opposite direction. Good, and then just like we did at the beginning of class, you're gonna let your legs fall down to the right and then hook that right ankle over your left thigh. Stay there for a couple of breaths. Just try to stay planted in that left shoulder. Good, and then unhook that leg. You're gonna bring your left ankle below your right ankle below your left leg, and then draw your knees to your belly and let them come over to the right for a twist. Take a couple moments here. You might take that right hand, the top of your left thigh. One more breath. Good, and then release. You're gonna roll onto your back. Plant your feet down, let them be wide. And then drop your knees over to the left and hook that left ankle over your right thigh. Stay heavy in the right shoulder. Keep softening in the front of that right thigh, front of that right hip. And then we're going to sneak into that twist. So you're going to bring that left ankle below the right thigh and then bring both knees up and over to the left. One more moment. And then rolling onto your back. Squeeze your knees in towards your belly. So a little rocking from side to side. And then lower your feet to the floor. And then just like we did in the beginning of class, once again, you're going to open your feet as wide as your mat, turn your toes in towards each other, and allow the knees and thighs to just fall against one another. Reach your arms straight up above your shoulders, and then begin to make an X with your arms. And then bend your elbows and just let your fingertips and your forearms hang down on either side. So like you're giving yourself a big embrace. You might even let your hands land on the cup of your shoulders and inch your fingers into a deeper embrace or a deeper hug. Or the fingertips might lightly brush the floor. And take a few moments here. And feeling the warmth of your breath bathe your face. And then with an inhale, uncross your arms and let them come all the way out like a T. And then as you exhale, bring them up, cross them in the opposite direction, and let them hang down. And then slowly allow your hands to just melt down to your side or to your belly. You can stay like this or begin to separate the knees. Maybe you stretch the legs long, and from here we're coming into Shavasana, or just a period of rest and stillness at the end of our class. So the most important thing here is to arrange the body in a way that feels comfortable. And if you're feeling chilly, maybe pulling on some socks or jacket or anything else that's gonna make you feel warm and cozy. It's hard to relax when you're feeling chilly. And we'll stay in stillness for a couple of minutes. If lying on your back is difficult for you, you can always choose to come on up into a seated meditation instead. And just feel the breath moving in and out at this point, slow, soft, and easy. And then, as you're ready, begin to stretch the arms overhead. If you feel like you need more time in stillness, or you're just ready to move into a deeper state of relaxation and not come upright, feel free to do that. Or if you'd like, you might begin to slowly make a journey to an upright position. And then once you've come upright, you arrange yourself in a way that you can sit with comfort and ease, whatever that looks like. And then draw hands into the center of your heart. Just take a couple breaths in, sealing in your practice to carry you to a good night's sleep. And together we'll just take a deep bow of gratitude to one another, to Thundermist for providing the platform for these classes, and for all the ways that our yoga practice can help to ground us in body, heart, and spirit. And thank you all for joining me for this final yoga class of the year, and I look forward to seeing you in the year to come. Have a great rest of your night.